originally both silver and gold in Bolivia.
Yes, we have both of them, and many say that this Potosi, silver of Potosi, was originally for the Incas.
Yeah. Let's turn towards food in Bolivia. What do you eat? What is the Bolivian cuisine like?
I can tell you that we are in a campaign to have the International Year of Quinoa 2013. We hope that this year we will approve a resolution in the UN to declare 2013 the International Year of Quinoa.
I know that you already have a majority in favor. So, because if we could get the Year of the Potato for Peru, then surely Bolivia will get Year of the Quinoa.
Well, now everybody eats potatoes, but potatoes came from the Andean region. We have, I don't know, 800 different kinds of potatoes. When it comes to quinoa, it's a grain, it's like a cereal, but that has so many qualities in relation to proteins and to iron, and that this grain has been called by the FAO, the organization,
the Food and Agriculture Organization,
yes, as the grain of the future. And because even though it is produced in the Andean region, now it's beginning to be produced here. United States is beginning to be one of the main consumers and producers, third producer in the world, and Germany too, because of all its values. And for us, this is very important. This grain, how can we not only have it as part of our cuisine, but also to promote it in the whole world in order to help to develop policies that have to deal with the food security.
Food shortage. But how do you spell quinoa?
Quinoa, well, in English you spell it with Quinoa. In Spanish we do it with an U. But that's the way you will find it in English. And
I noticed that people are noting it very
quinoa.
Carefully. Yes.
And you will find also we have different foods in the highlands. A lot of what we call charque. It's meat that has salt, and that you dry it so you can eat it 3 months after that, 5 months, and so on. You will find also something that here it's for me very difficult. You know, I was surprised when I came here. I buy oranges, I leave them in my refrigerator, I go to a meeting, I come back 1 month later, I open, and the oranges are so beautiful, they haven't changed. That in Bolivia doesn't exist. The food in Bolivia leaves what it needs to live. A week, 2 weeks. I'm so surprised with the fruits here, because a banana here can exist, I don't know, 2 weeks. That's not possible in our country. It's more natural, so it tastes very different. And you will find a lot of potatoes, dried potatoes, that are very, I love them. Not too many love them, because it's a particular taste, more difficult than the coca leaf taste.
Let's turn a bit towards politics. You have a number of neighbors. Do you like your neighbors? Do you like the history of your neighbors? You've lost some territory to Chile. You've lost some territory to Paraguay. I'm not
with Brazil too.
So you are Are you surrounded by enemies, or are you an enemy to all of them?
Bolivia has lost almost half of its territories through wars and some diplomatic negotiations during its 180 years of.
You must have very poor quality diplomats if all that you do is to lose territory through diplomacy.
If you see the history why we lost the part of the territory that allow us to reach the sea, you will conclude that yes, because those diplomats were thinking more in the interests of the English companies that had to bring the silver to UK than thinking how to preserve the interests of Bolivia. So you're right. We have lost very much because, as I said it, during more than 100 and almost 180 years, the diplomacy has been ruled by those sectors that are minorities and that usually think that the best thing they can do is live like French or like Americans, but not like Bolivians.
Does that mean that you have internal conflicts and tensions between different linguistic nationalities in Bolivia?
I would say that now, no, but we have had that. When President Morales arrived, there was a conflict, there was a tension. It was we had to go in less than 4 years. We had 1, 2, I think 3 referendums, 2 elections, and we managed to solve that in a very pacific way through votes, through democracy, showing that the majority wants a change. But there were conflicts, and there were some weeks where small groups, minorities that had ruled the country for centuries, for example, they took the airports, they tried to control some cities. There were some clashes. Yeah, it has been something difficult, especially in the year 2006, 2007. I would say that now, after we have a new constitution, it's very clear through a democratic process that the vast majority wants a change, that things are coming in a very constructive and pacific way. But don't think that to solve all these conflicts is something that you solve them very easily. There are tensions.
But you seem to have a lot of confidence in elections and votes, but which we had elections all the time in Egypt, and President Mubarak used to get 90% of the vote, always. And yet, you know what happened in Egypt 2 weeks ago. And so the question is there any fallout of the Egyptian example? Because the Egyptian example is snowballing throughout the Middle East. You have problems in Algeria, you have problems in Libya, you have problems in Yemen, you have problems in Bahrain, you have problems in Jordan, and this is only the beginning, and in Iran itself. So you don't know where it's going to stop. And you're not very far from Egypt in Bolivia. So
I think we are advanced, because what they did with Mubarak, we did with Goni, with Gonzalo Sanchez de Lozada. We had a president like him. And there was a revolution very similar to what happened in Egypt. And it was very similar. It was almost the same story. 2 weeks of mobilization of the population. He brought tanks into the street. There were 60, 70 persons that were killed. And after that, he had to run away, take the plane. He came to the U.S., and the situation in Bolivia began to change. So what we are seeing in Egypt, we have already seen it in Bolivia. Now it's almost 2004, 6 6-7 years ago.
So
Very similar.
what you are saying is that President Obama is wrong when he says